Madame Marie Delphine LaLaurie was a Louisiana socialite known for hosting ritzy soirees in her decadent Creole mansion in the French Quarter of New Orleans during the early 19th century. Guests gorged on fine food and champagne, unaware of the grisly scene unfolding just 2 floors above. When local police responded to a kitchen fire in 1834, they discovered the bodies of several horribly mutilated slaves in the attic. When the public learned of LaLaurie's grotesque secret, a mob stormed the house, prompting her to flee France. Soon after LaLaurie disappeared from New Orleans, people claimed to hear the phantom screams of her victims spilling from the house in the dead of the night. The LaLaurie Mansion is now privately owned and unfortunately does not offer tours, but several city tour operators, such as free tours by foot and ghost city tours, include a stop at the Royal Street Mansion on their itineraries. This retired ocean liner sailed the Atlantic Ocean from 1936 to 1967. During her first 3 years at sea, the Queen Mary carried Hollywood celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor and Audrey Hepburn, and dignitaries like General Dwight Eisenhower. Her days as a luxury ship were short-lived, however, and in 1939, she was stripped of her amenities and began her second life as the Grey Ghost, a World War II troop ship. At the conclusion of the war, she was restored to her former glory and traversed the Atlantic for nearly 2 more decades. On Halloween 1967, the Queen Mary departed on her last cruise, eventually docking in Long Beach, California, her final resting place. The ship is reportedly haunted by the spirits of those who died aboard, such as the young sailor who was crushed to death by a door in the engine room, and a crew member who was murdered in cabin B-340. The Queen Mary no longer sails the Atlantic, but she lives on as a floating hotel and restaurant in California's Pacific coast. Follow in the footsteps of her famous passengers and book a room. Don't want to share a suite with ghosts? The Queen Mary also offers a variety of tour packages. Visit during Halloween season and join ghouls, spirits, and the undead aboard the Queen Mary when she transforms into Dark Harbor. On August 4th, 1892, bodies of Andrew and Abby Borden were discovered bludgeoned beyond recognition in their home. The prime suspect, their youngest daughter, Lizzie. The Borden case was one of America's first crimes to unfold under the media spotlight, capturing the attention of the nation. Despite allegations that Lizzie had financial motives for the murder and growing public scrutiny, she was ultimately acquitted due to lack of physical evidence. The Borden home has since been converted into a museum and bed and breakfast, where guests can see gruesome photos of the crime scene and sleep in one of its reportedly haunted rooms. The 19th century murder made headlines again when it received a Hollywood makeover with Lifetime's 2014 movie Lizzie Borden Took an Axe, starring Christina Ricci. Guests can book a room at the Lizzie Borden B&B and sleep in the same rooms where the Bordens took their final breaths. Too scared to stay the night? The museum offers daily, hour-long tours and a gift shop that sells spooky souvenirs like an axe-wielding Lizzie Borden bobblehead doll. One night in this hotel nestled in Colorado's mountain wilderness inspired Stephen King's best-selling novel turned horror film, The Shining. Massachusetts couple F.O. and Flora Stanley opened the isolated resort in 1909 and reportedly never left. According to staff, Mrs. Stanley can be heard playing her Steinway piano in the music room at night, and Mr. Stanley occasionally shows up in photographs. There have also been reports of bags being unpacked, lights turning on and off, and echoes of children's laughter heard in the hallways. Paranormal experts hail the Stanley Hotel as one of the nation's most active ghost sites in the U.S. Book a room at the Stanley and spend a night with the hotel's permanent guests. You can also purchase a ghost adventure package complete with your very own red rum mug. Too spooked to spend the night? Book a day tour or brave the nighttime ghost tour. Visit during the Halloween season and enjoy special events like the Red Rum Mystery Dinner or the Shining Ball. This menacing Gothic-style prison opened in Philadelphia in 1829 and became the first in the U.S. to implement solitary confinement, a hotly debated practice. Prisoners languished in gloomy stone cells with virtually no human contact, with hoods placed over their heads any time they were moved. Proponents of this system believed that solitude would lead to penitence, which would ultimately result in rehabilitation. Critics, on the other hand, believed it incited emotional anguish comparable to physical torture. The so-called Pennsylvania system was replicated in several other states and in Europe. When the prison closed in 1971, it is believed that the ghosts of the inmates took back the prison. Visitors claimed to see their apparitions wandering the corridors and hear mischievous whispers in abandoned cell blocks. Eastern State Penitentiary offers daytime tours year-round as well as special events. If you're feeling brave, visit during the fall when the decommissioned prison transforms into terror behind the walls. One of the top haunted houses in the country. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you never miss a single episode. If you would like to join the Macabre community, follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description below. And as always, one person's insanity is another person's normal. It's up to you to decide which is yours.